to all my Capricorns. Please make sure to get my book at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. The link to that is in the description box below. Just in case if you wanted to know about the real history of how the world came to be, to where we have it now today, right? Also too, this is a reading based upon love. I already shuffled up the cards. I also have a service for $35, right? So $35, $70, $80, $100, right? The $35 one is strictly based upon love. So, you know, I know love is very popular and stuff like this. So you can get all your love questions answered. It is for 15 minutes, just so I can keep it consistent. 15, 30, 45 an hour, right? That's my going rate. But the $35 one, like I said before, it is to answer your love questions, okay? Now, obviously, when the 15 minutes is up, that means that the reading is up. But I do my best to answer your question, okay? And I am well versed in love. I've been in love with 1,000 different people, we're not even including my immediate relatives, okay? And every time I've learned something different from it, and I never loved the same person who I was in a relationship or somewhat of a relationship with the same way. So the cards that I come up with for the Capricorns are the Seven of Wands. Oh, please make sure to come through. You know, Kareemspiritworks@yahoo.com. That's how it is that you can find me. My rates as well as my email addresses are also in the description box below. If this free tarot reading resonated with you, then consider getting a private tarot reading from me, okay? It's only $35 if you want to know about love. The $70 one, the $80 one, the $100 one, okay? Those are pretty much more for anything else that you would want to know, right? That's why you have more time and more cards, by the way. Now, the Seven of Wands, the Page of Swords, Three of Swords, the World, the Death card, the Star card, the Knight of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Judgment, and last but not least, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is a situation for a lot of you where, for you Capricorns, kind of heartbroken. You're kind of seeing this as a loss, some sort of separation from someone. You're seeing it as a loss. The reason why I'm saying that in the first place is because of the first three cards. The Eight of Wands, you're thinking that after how much you like this person, how you and this person could have potentially really been something long-term, could have really lasted. You could have really actually had this person as your real confidant, your partner, you know, your partner in everything, so to speak. The Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords, instead you having to deal with that, instead of you being in a relationship with them, you end up having to deal with heartbreak. Hold on. Yeah, so getting back into it, yeah, so you have the World and the Death card, okay? The World and the Death card represents how a lot of you Capricorns, the world represents Capricorn anyway, okay? This represents the world as you know it, the world that as you're experiencing it. And it's saying that the world in the death card represents that you're going to be right no matter how you perceive this past relationship, okay? You really, if you ask me, this is why it is that you're here. I would suggest you take at least a month off, figure out what was going on between you and this person, right? And learn to let go of whatever it is that you had, because it's necessary. Because if you don't, what's going to happen here is that you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be too worried about you know, the meanderings of your own mind, what happened, you know, how you could have made things, done things better. And you're right to think that. But at the same time, you know, don't think so much into it, because dating is very simple, okay? It really is quite simple, okay? The death card represents, and there's going to be some serious, huge, serious changes coming in, because whenever it is that I usually get the death card represents a complete rearranging from the ground up, a foundational rearranging of everything, right? Where you put your importance. So the Star card, the Knight of Swords, and the Ace of Wands represents how this is a situation for a lot of you where you need to understand that for you Capricorns, right? The Star card is you may want to get yourselves into a new relationship, but you have to understand that if that's the case, right? Because you have a Star card, right? Desires, right? Long-term goals. You want to be with somebody. You potentially even want to, you know, some of you may even want to be married, right? But if that's the case, then you need to understand that if that's your long-term goal, then in essence you're going to have to understand that what's going on here for you is you will have to learn to let go of your hard feelings towards this person, because you're not going to be able to succeed if you have hard feelings towards this person. All right, you're going to harbor that in, and every time you approach somebody, you're going to approach them with the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that you have. And that's not the makings or the foundation of a very good relationship. So the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Wands represents how this is a situation for you where the Ace of Swords is you have to, just like the Death card implies, you have to rearrange your entire foundation of how it is that you see relationships in the first place. The Ace of Wands, okay, represents how and what has to be the foundation of that is enlightenment, right? There's compassion, enlightenment, the desire, right, the overwhelming desire to really want to be in a relationship, but not in one to the point where you allow yourself to end up getting played or mistreated, right? You still want to have that level of self-respect, because the fire signs represent self-respect because they represent confidence. So the Judgment and the Eight of Swords, the Judgment, which is also a fire card, okay? The Eight of Swords is an air card. This, right? Air and fire are supposed to be compatible. So this is how a lot of you Capricorns should look at it. A lot of you Capricorns need to learn to cut off and let go of relationships that don't need to be worked on. You know what I mean? Excuse me. You sorry, slight distraction. You Capricorns need to let go of relationships that don't need to be worked on anymore, yeah, because they are what they are. If the person is dysfunctional, then they're not going to stop being dysfunctional, right? They're just going to continue to be dysfunctional unless they decide to make the change for themselves. Now, the Eight of Swords represents how this is a situation for a lot of you where the Eight of Swords is that this is the way that they would approach you anyway. And the way that they would approach you is you would try to say something to them. And if you did, they would put on this internal blindfold on and try to make it seem like as if they wouldn't understand what it is that you're saying anyway. So let's clarify the Eight of Swords. You have the Seven of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. So this is pretty much a situation for you where the Eight of Swords, to clarify this, the Seven of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands represents how you can be in a situation where for them, they know that you like them, but they're too dysfunctional to actually stop being dysfunctional themselves. You're really better off just leaving them behind, because if you don't, they're so dysfunctional, they're not going to stop tomorrow at all. So, or anytime soon, right? So it's best that you, in essence, move on from that. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe. Peace.